This is the Content Marketing Podcast. Episode number 211 is Carvana the Ultimate Testimony to the Power of Content. Hello and welcome to the Content Marketing Podcast. This is the show where we help you grow your tribe and your bottom line through insanely good content. I'm your host, Rachel Parker of Resonance Content Marketing, and today is January 26th, 2017. Hello, or as we say in Texas, howdy, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of the Content Marketing Podcast. Just a reminder, this podcast is available on iTunes and also on Google Play Music, so if you like what you hear, please feel free to click on over and subscribe. Also, my new book, The Content Marketing Coach, Everything You Need to Get in the Game and Win, is now available on Amazon in book and Kindle format. And here's what content marketing guru Joe Pulizzi had to say about it. He said, "A simple yet effective guide to an approach that most businesses get flat out wrong. Do yourself and your business a favor and take a deep dive into this book. You won't regret it." To learn more about the book and to download a free chapter, go to contentmarketingcoachbook.com. I want to give a shout out to a friend of the show, Georgina. Just this week, she sent me a sweet little GIF, a sweet little South Park themed GIF with the message, "You have huge fans in Boston." So Georgina, you made my day. Thank you so much. And my pleasure to keep bringing the good stuff. You know, I've never been to Boston. It's one city I've never been to. So if I head over there one day, I'll be sure to hit you up. Maybe we can grab coffee. Okay, last week I shared with you a big change that I'm making on my blog, experimentally at least, and the reasons why I believe it's a move in the right direction. If you happen to miss that episode, feel free to check it out on iTunes or via the RSS feed. Today we're talking about the latest phenomenon in the pre-owned auto retail industry. It's a company called Carvana, and we're going to talk about why its sales model is a true testimony to the power of content and the rise of the content culture. But first, it's time to check in with our news feed for this week's rundown of news you can use. Some news out of Twitter kicking off this week's news feed. Twitter will start looping all videos that are 6.5 seconds or shorter within the Twitter news feed. So if you share a video on Twitter and it comes up in someone's newsfeed and it is shorter, then if it is 6.5 seconds or shorter, it will automatically loop. Now, of course, this comes on the heels of Twitter shutting down the Vine network and replacing it with Vine Camera. So this is where it gets a little confusing. So stick with me. Now, I downloaded Vine Camera and I played around with it a bit. Basically, if you remember Vine, it was a video tool, but it was also a self-contained social network. So you could follow people on Vine, you could converse on Vine, and then it was also, after Twitter bought it, you could also share those Vines on Twitter. Well, basically what Vine Camera is it's Vine with the social network stripped away. So it's a tool for creating looping 6-second videos to share on Twitter, which, quite frankly, is, as I understand it, the reason most people used Vine anyway, as kind of a Twitter feed in. But here's the deal. Twitter has announced that it will be looping all short videos, not regardless of whether they were created on Vine Camera or just uploaded from whatever. So that begs the question, why do we need the Vine Camera if it's going to loop all these videos? I don't know. I still think they need to iron out the details. But long story short, too late, right? Those short videos will be looping on Twitter. Excuse me. LinkedIn. Okay, so we've been hearing about this new desktop layout for LinkedIn. They've been teasing it for quite a while. They've been beta testing it for a while, and they finally just officially announced it. Believe it or not, there was no official announcement. They were just kind of out there testing it. And of course, folks like TechCrunch were reporting on it. So yes, LinkedIn did publish a post on their blog where they talk about this new layout and this updated user experience, and they actually give a little preview. The new interface will, and I quote, bring conversations and content to the heart of the platform. And I will, in the blog post for this episode of the podcast, I will link to the LinkedIn blog post that gives some more details, and they've even put together a little video to show you some highlights. So as far as timing goes, LinkedIn has told us that the desktop redesign will be rolling out to all members globally over the coming weeks. And as we all know, these things tend to go. Coming weeks could be 2 weeks, could be 6 weeks, could be 18 weeks. We don't know. But I will, of course, keep you posted when that rollout begins in force. Okay, our content hit of the week is from a new source, new to me anyway, the OnGage blog. They published a wonderful post called New Email Marketing Trends for 2017. And as much as we love our bright, shiny toys, we're all talking about Snapchat, we're all talking about live video, all this really cool new stuff and new ways to engage. Believe it or not, good old email is still the most effective way of reaching our target audience and converting those folks. According to a recent study by McKinsey & Company, email is still more significant and effective than acquiring customers via social media. But of course, email, like everything else, is changing. Now, email itself isn't changing, but what people expect from email and how they interact with email is changing. And so we need to look at opportunities to do email more effectively. And that's what OnGage talks about in this post. They go through 5 trends that will impact our email practices in 2017. And these are really 5 opportunities to make our emails more engaging and more likely to attract and convert those folks. It is a very interesting post, and I will, of course, provide the link in the blog post for this episode. That's it for this week's update. If you stumble across something you think might be of interest to your fellow content marketers, feel free to tweet it to me at Rach Parker so that we can share. Now it's time for this week's Spotlight segment. Is Carvana the ultimate testimony to the power of content? If you happen to find yourself driving down I-10 on the west side of Houston anytime soon, you might notice an odd structure just off the feeder road. It is a glass building, clear glass, about 8 stories tall. But what makes it so unusual is what's inside. What is inside those glass walls? And what's inside are cars. Welcome to the Carvana vending machine. It is one of only 3 in the country, and it represents a huge shift in the pre-owned auto retail market. And just a few years ago, if you talked about a car vending machine, like you could buy your car online and then just go and punch in a code and pick it up, it would have sounded like something out of the Jetsons. I mean, it would have been just totally inconceivable. But today it is a reality. Carvana has a car vending machine here in Houston. And I think the others are in Nashville and maybe Atlanta is the third one. I'm not sure. I saw it on the website yesterday. But here's how it works. So if you are in the market for a car, you go to the Carvana website, you browse the car for sale, and you can take a tour of the features and the imperfections. I mean, they point out every scratch that is on this car and every ding. And they're very transparent about it. The site uses 360-degree photography, so you can rotate the car around and see, interior, exterior, and then of course you're getting the specs while you're doing that. The specs about the engine and how many people it seats, et cetera, et cetera. You can view the auto check report, so see what kind of grade it got on auto check. So you can do all that. You can shop around, look at as many cars as you want or vehicles as you want, and once you pick out your vehicle, you can arrange financing right then and there, including trade-in. If you have a trade-in, you can make that part of the financing deal and then finalize the sale. So what happens then? They deliver your car to your nearest vending machine where you go to your machine and you enter your confirmation number, and your car is delivered to you via a sophisticated system of lifts and conveyor belts. It truly is a vending machine. And lest you have concerns about, what if you drive off and, the engine falls out or it's a total lemon, Carvana has a 7-day test-own period during which you can return the car for a full refund, no questions asked, cancel everything, back to the way you were. No questions asked. So what does all this have to do with content marketing? Yes, it's a cool idea, Rachel, but what does it have to do with content marketing? And the answer is a lot, or more specifically, it has to do with the power of content in today's culture. Now, content has already disrupted how we purchase smaller items. For example, recently I needed a new sports watch for the gym, for my workouts. So I went around online to see what my fellow gym rats were recommending, took in all that content, made a decision, found it on Amazon, bought it, and was delivered to my door. Now content has evolved to disrupt the purchase of large ticket items, even cars. And even to the point where the salesperson can be completely eliminated from the transaction. And this is a huge change, folks. This is a huge change in a major in a huge industry with some involving products that involve serious financial outlay. This isn't buying a sports watch on Amazon. This is a big ticket item. And in thinking about this Carvana model, I thought back to when I bought my car in 2012, and truly, by the time I walked into the dealership, I knew the car I wanted. I knew the make. I knew the model. I knew the options. I knew the color. I knew they had it in stock. And really, I was just there to take it for a quick test drive, take it for a quick spin, do the financing, and go home with my car. It was a done deal, practically a done deal by the time I walked into the dealership. And I think Carvana is very aware of that, and they're taking that experience to the next level and eliminating the whole dealership experience, which to a lot of people is really appealing. I've never heard someone say, "Oh, I need to go buy a new car. I'm so excited about going to all these dealerships." No, everybody hates it. They dread it. They say, "Oh, I got to shop for a new car this weekend. I don't want to do it. I don't want to drive to these dealerships and deal with these salespeople, blah, blah, blah." It's not something people look forward to. And Carvana is offering an experience that completely disrupts everything. I keep using that word disrupt. It's one of those buzzwords I hate, but it truly is. This truly is disruptive. It's not something I'm throwing around lightly. So another question is, will this be, to borrow Arthur Miller's play title, is this the death of the salesman? Will everything be in the hands of the consumer in the future for every single product? I don't think so. I think sales professionals are still needed. Their skills are still valuable. It's just that their role is changing. Years ago, salespeople were pushers of product, and today they need to be more facilitators. They're there to answer our questions. I mean, when I bought my car, the first time I went to the dealership, we had to go. My husband and I had to go do something, but the sales guy actually said, "Would it be okay if I gave you my card?" I mean, that's how much we have backed away from that pushy salesman. And so I really do believe the role of sales is changing, and it's changing to adapt to the fact that the customer is now in charge. Years ago, the salesperson had all the information, and because of that, they had all the power. That's flipped on its head. The consumer has the information. They have that content that is providing the education they need to make an informed decision. And on the brand side, on the marketing side, and on the sales side, remember they're kind of merging these days. We have to remember people don't want to be sold to. They want help making decisions. So what does that mean for us? We need to be Sherpas. We need to be Yodas, okay? We need to be teachers and guides to show them the way and help them make the best decision for them and their goals and their situation. And once they're ready to make that decision, then and only then have we earned the right to introduce them to our solutions that we offer. So if you have a chance, look it up. It's Carvana, CARVANA.com, and check it out. It's an interesting model, and I think it's going to, I think this is going to be the first of many changes that we see, not only in the auto industry, but selling just about anything, really taking into account the consumer experience and the fact that people want to have their own experience, and then when they're ready to buy, they want it to be quick and easy, and they don't want to be sold a bunch of options that they don't want. They just want to buy what they want to buy and get on their way. So, and this applies to like I said, it can apply to anything. So, like I said, the salesperson is not going away, but we need to be conscious of the way that things are changing with the consumer experience. And that's both on the B2B side and on the B2C side. So that is my take on why Carvana is the ultimate testimony to the power of content. If you have any questions or if you want to add to the conversation, I would love to hear from you. Just hit me up on Twitter at Rach Parker. Now it's time for our content marketing tip of the week. If we're going to succeed in our mission as content marketers, yes, we need to be absolute tip-top communicators. Yes, we need to be marketers and always conscious of the brand, but we also need to be educators. We need to see ourselves as a source of information and enlightenment for the people who follows us. And that mission goes beyond the basic how-to blog post or 10 things, 10 ways to get more followers on your Facebook page or whatever. We need to see that educational mission and take it very, very seriously. And, I was working with a client just this week. We handle their content marketing, and I got with her on the next blog post because she's wants to be very much involved in the selection of topics and the way we position their information. And every month it's the same thing. She picks a topic and just wants to dump as much information as possible into every piece we publish. And really having to work with her to educate her on how content works. I tell her, take this topic and think about it as you would a course or a seminar. Now, if you were teaching a course or a seminar or a workshop, you wouldn't stand up in front of the room at 8:35 and just dump out every information you had to share on the topic, would you? I certainly wouldn't do that. I hope you wouldn't either. No, because you overload people with information and then they walk away with nothing. So what we need to do is structure our content, have the more basic, the more general information at the beginning, and then drill down to the specifics. And that's how we need to approach our role in the marketing/sales continuum. We need to know what people need for where they are and where they're coming from. And then we need to present our content in a way that guides them from one level to the next. And this approach not only allows us to establish our thought leadership and to become trusted advisors, but also to build a relationship using multiple touch points that can lead to revenue generating action. Okay, campers, that's it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Content Marketing Podcast. I've enjoyed our time together, as I always do. If you like what you've heard today, please feel free to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play Music or via our RSS feed. And if you really like what you've heard, please leave us a quick review on iTunes. And I want to thank everyone who has posted a review thus far. I've got some great stuff up there, and I so appreciate it. Also, remember that my new book, The Content Marketing Coach, Everything You Need to Get in the Game and Win, is now available in book and Kindle format on Amazon. To learn more about the book and to snag your copy and to download a free chapter, visit contentmarketingcoachbook.com. As you know, I always like to leave you with a quote, and in keeping with today's automotive-focused theme, here is one from Henry Ford. He once said, quote, "If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself," unquote. Again, this is Rachel Parker with Resonance Content Marketing. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you again next week. Take care.